All right, so we are here on week 4, and we're going to jump into module 4. It's your guide to supercharged intentions and knowing what you really want. So this is about now going into this last week, we're jumping into the practice of self-awareness, and we're going to continue into more deepening our self-awareness into the next month. So we're going to just recap a little bit today. And so in the first week, we talked about cultivating the chi and healing the body filled with ness. So everybody should be using their drops every day. And I know a few of you have jumped in with Qigong practice. And so that is going to be very foundational to really this healing process. It's very, very difficult to heal when there's not enough life force in the body, and that's just that. I was watching, where was I looking at this? It's so crazy, like lately with, I don't know about you guys, but like with the Mercury retrograde, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's just in the air, if it's allergy season or what, but it's like my brain's all scrambled up. It's like, wait a minute, somebody said that. Who said that? So anyway, what I was going to say is I was either reading somewhere, I was reading an article, and they were talking about how in traditional Chinese medicine and also in Ayurvedic tradition, which goes back, both of those go back 5,000 years. But illness in those cultures and in that medical tradition is truly, there's only one cause, and that is the loss of qi. So everything that they do is to help to rebalance and rebuild the qi in the body. So that's really the approach that we are after here, and I firmly believe that is just the huge foundational part. So that's why we did that first. In week 2, we talked about developing a mindfulness practice and getting into alpha. And so as we continue on with the 13 weeks, it's going to be really important to, start to develop your mindfulness practice if you're not already doing it every day, to really, start to become aware that at least spending 5 minutes a day in some sort of a mindfulness practice, whether it's like, the first 5 minutes when you wake up in the morning, of just tuning your awareness to the present moment, to your surroundings, maybe even expressing some gratitude, doing some things to reach for better thoughts and feelings first thing in the morning is just a really, really good way to begin to develop a mindfulness practice. And then, of course, we have our contemplation. We're going to dive more into contemplation as we get into more human design stuff. But, so the contemplation of all the things that you're learning and just letting those kind of run in the background of your mind while you're doing other activities, like driving or washing dishes or, housework or whatever, things that don't require you to really be thinking about anything. And then, of course, a full-on meditation practice that you can begin to develop as well, where you're really sitting for a length of time, maybe from a half an hour to an hour and a half sometimes, in a deep meditation, and using some tools to help to get you to that place as well. So we talked about using soundtracks, using, the alpha brainwave tracks and the theta and delta brainwave tracks to get you into that state where you can really sit and be in meditation and allow your body to come into that relaxed state of being. So, and I know that's difficult for some, but it is something that you can cultivate and something that you can, through practice, that you can really begin to utilize for your healing. And then last week, in week 3, we talked about the emotion code and clearing the unconscious and subconscious trapped emotional energy and any resistance that comes up to the changes that we want to make. So those, crazy negative self-talk things and all of that comes up when we start to look at what we truly want to be creating for ourselves. And so again, bearing in mind that practice is something that I really encourage, again, on a daily or even a weekly basis, even if you say, I'm just going to do it once a week to really practice the emotion code, because it really is about getting to the root of those things where you're talking to yourself and you're going, I don't really know why I feel this way. Like, there isn't really anything in my current situation that, that's really bringing me to this place where I'm feeling like this. Maybe there's something deeper. Maybe there's something unconscious or subconscious. Maybe there's a childhood wound. Maybe there's something else going on. And so this, using the emotion code, is really how we can address those types of issues. Okay. So today we're going to talk about intention setting and why we want to set intentions. Let me see if I can pull my notes up here. All right, so you're not seeing my notes, are you, on the screen? You're just seeing the slide, right? Okay. I'm going to just unmute you for a second, Lynn. So Lynn, oops. Lynn, can you?
Thing that says slide 3 of 17.
So there's a little box in the corner that you can see my notes.
Like handwritten notes, you mean?
No.
Yes. Yeah.
So are you seeing the slide, just the slide? Or do you see this other window that has my notes in it?
Just the slide.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'm going to mute you back. Bye. Oops, go back to slide 3. All right. So my notes. All right, so why set an intention? So many of us are not really tuned into what we really want. We think about our families, what they want, our spouses or kids or bosses, employees, and those wants and needs tend to become our own in our conscious mind, right? It's like when we're going to get more into, toward the end, we're going to talk a little bit more about this. Actually, we're going to talk about it next week. But in the book, the 4 disciplines of execution, they talk about, things that are urgent. The urgent things of life are really not the wildly important goals. They're really not those soul level goals. They're just the things that come up every day that demand our attention, right? And so when we think about what we want, for the most part, I think most people are really focused in on what those priorities are that are just the things that come up the most, the urgent things, right? And so we think that's what we really want to achieve. I want to be able to accomplish those priorities that are coming up, and I want to, have, more ease and grace and more, whatever the case may be, better time management skills, or, better ability to cope with the stresses, and those are sort of, the top level intentions. But subconsciously, there may be something deeper. We really may want or even need something else. So if there's a difference in that energy, if there's a difference between what our soul's intention is and what we're actually thinking that we really want, it's really impossible to manifest our true desires because we're literally sending out mixed signals. So the objective is to get really clear, and it's a process all of its own, right? And so we're going to be working on this by the end of our program. By the end of the 90 days, you may find your intentions have totally changed. So we're going to be looking at what the intentions are now, and as we go through the process, we're going to be refining and reiterating. It's an iterative process, so we're going to be looking at them every week and seeing, well, last week I thought it was this, but I've peeled another layer of the onion, and now I'm seeing that my intention is really this. Okay. I really like this quote by Abraham Hicks, too. She said in one of her talks that I was listening to on YouTube, she said, decide before you make it true if it's something you want, because you can make anything you want true for you. So this is part of that process, the decision-making process of being in that place where you realize that hey, I can choose my thoughts deliberately, and I can decide what is true for me, and know that you can make those things true. That through your own intention, your thoughts, feelings, your habits, you're creating that truth for yourself. Okay, so again, we're gonna talk about breaking through the noise and getting to alpha. Oh, you do see the notes? Okay. I don't want you to see the notes, so I'm going to figure out how to not have you see them. So I'm just going to go ahead and pause this for a second. Wonder if I can pause the recording. Well, that doesn't matter. I'll just edit that. So I'm going to pause the screen share and turn that off. Very good. Apply changes. All right, now you're not seeing it. Very good. So we talked again in week 2 about getting into alpha, developing that daily meditation, contemplation, mindfulness practice, and getting into that state of mind where we receive inspired answers. So throughout the 13 weeks, you're going to be developing a daily meditation, contemplation, and mindfulness practice if you don't already have one, which I mentioned already. This is a key component to your healing. It is proven that mindfulness promotes a relaxed state, nurtures the nervous system, and enhances the immune system. Once you can get into this state at will, you can easily drop into deeper levels of meditation, such as theta, where asking questions of your healer will be rewarded with answers that are aligned with your highest and best good. As you embark on this journey of self-awareness, self-love, and self-healing, it's important to become clear about what you really want to create and why. So we're going to be talking about an intention that is both a what and a why. So then we're also going to walk through right now some questions that can help you. So we're going to be, again, so for me, when I guess maybe because I've practiced it for a little while, it's really easy to get to that frame of mind where when I'm asking questions, they just are right there. Like I'm getting that sort of really instant connection between my mind and my higher mind. It happens normally when I'm writing. So, more and more it's getting to be without needing to write, but it's very, very quick. It happens like instantly when I'm writing. So, so that's going to be something that you can discover for yourself. So, I say, use the journal, and ask the following questions. And so, you're going to do your little maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever of mindfulness, of sort of really getting into a space of relaxed, alert, and then you can ask the questions. And so the first question would be, going back to that slide, what really needs to be healed? What really needs to be healed? So I'm going to just invite you to think about that right now. What really needs to be healed? I know each of us answered a questionnaire at the beginning and had written down some thoughts and feelings about what this process needs to be for you. And that might still be the case. Those things might still be the truth for you. But let's just dive a little deeper into that and ask, is it true? I mean, if you're asking about your physical pain, is it true that's just all that you need to do is heal that? Or your relationship with food, or your need for more and better relationships? Or is there something deeper at the core of your being that can be healed and create a major lasting transformation? So that's what we're getting at. Is there something at the core of my being that kind of will usurp all of these other things that I feel like I need to work on? It's a higher level Okay. So as you contemplate that, sorry, I'm going to go on to the next slide. And the next question is, what energies, guides, activities, or other professionals can provide healing for me? So there's something else you can be doing, some new awareness you need that will help you to have clarity. I think that, just doing this program is probably enough for most people because it's a lot. But, there's always room for more, especially if you have a first line energy in your profile, which we'll talk about in coming weeks. Some of you already probably know that if you have first line energy, that you're an investigator. And it's easy for you to look around and dive deeper into the things that interest you. And so you may stumble across some different things that will be really helpful in this process. And if not, that's okay too. So another question you can ask your healer is, what is the best way to achieve a healed or higher state? What is the best way for me to get where I really want to be? And bearing in mind that asking these questions, it's a very light process. It's not about figuring it out for yourself. It's not about going out and seeking the answer. It's about letting the answer come to you. Tuning in to your healer and letting her guide you to deeper awareness. How you can gain awareness and experience of infinite love. So for me, it was really looking at things through the eyes of love. And that was really instrumental in helping me to get through a lot of the stuff that I felt like I was going through. And that I still, I'm still doing that, still in that process. But definitely lots has changed. And another question that you can ask is, what am I missing? So I ask that question a lot. What is this showing up to tell me? Like, what am I supposed to be getting from this BS? Like, really? I thought I was beyond that, or I thought I already, like, what am I missing? Something's missing, obviously, because I'm attracting this situation again. And with lots and lots of self-love, lots and lots of self-acceptance, not beating yourself up about it, but just, I'm willing to see how I could look at this differently. And then, what is my deepest desire to be the result of my healing? Because again, we have those urgent, priorities that are always ever present. But is there something deeper? Is it really just that I want to be able to keep up with my grandkids? Or is it something more? Is it that I really want to see if I can regain some of my vitality and have a more youthful experience going into, my later years? Is that something that I can achieve? Or do I just want to be in a place where I can love myself more? So what is the deepest desire to be the result of my healing? And then you're going to set your intention to have clarity and receive answers. So again, this isn't about you needing to go out and seek anything. It's not about you needing to go to the library, do any research. You don't need to Google. You don't need to do any of that. You just need to set your intention to have clarity and receive answers. And I was trying to look for a picture that that said clarity to me. And crystal clear blue water. All the pictures were of crystal clear blue water, so I thought that was a good one. Water represents our emotions as well, so that's appropriate. So now you're gonna want to really, again, we're sort of in a new way of being. We're learning how to create a commitment to ourselves. I still work at this too. There are certain things that I know that I need to commit to. And the only way that I can commit to it is to make it just as important as any other event on my schedule for my day. So I have to schedule my time appropriately so that I can do the practice. And it's important to commit to it every day because, why? We already talked about the shifting and changes in your neural pathways. Did we talk about that? I don't know that we did, but we will. So the daily practice is really about hardwiring your brain to begin to accept that this is the new way that we're going to be. And if you don't do it every day, then it doesn't begin to make that physical change in your body. So how you're going to remind yourself every day. Again, you can come up with many different ways. You can set an alarm on your phone with a note to set your intention of the day. You can put a note on your calendar or your task list. You can leave a sticky note on the mirror in the bathroom or on your computer screen. You can leave a note on your refrigerator door. Just come up with a way that will remind you that's uniquely yours. So here's an example. Sorry. This allergies makes my lungs like spasm, so it's kind of hard to breathe and talk, but I'm going to work through it. So here's an example of an intention that this would be my intention. So basically what you're going to do is set your intention. You can set it for any area of your life or for all of them, depending on how much time you want to spend on this exercise. So you will use positive, life-affirming words in present tense, and find a way to phrase your intentions without using words like not or contractions like don't. So anytime that you are writing an intention or an affirmation, and you put in not or don't, you're actually bringing in more of the energy of the thing that you don't want. So we got to figure out, if you need help rewriting that sentence, then let me know, and I can definitely help you with that. So the example is, instead of I do not allow people to make me angry, you could say something like this, which is a really much higher level intention, which is I find value in all of my emotions, and I govern myself with grace and love for myself and others. So that's just one example. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, and remember, intention setting is not goal setting. So again, we're not trying to figure out the how. We're not even interested in how I'm going to achieve my intention. This is a process for going deeper into your own truth, discovering what you really want, and creating a vibration that will allow you to attract those preferred experiences deliberately. Because the intention is not a goal, there's no need to think about or dwell on how this intention will come to pass. We're simply creating the feeling frequency of the preferred experience and allowing deep awareness of our own truth to rise up from your subconscious. Okay, and we talked about anti-intentions. We're going to talk about that some more. So this, I thought, was the perfect picture. The anti-intentions really keep us in a state of thinking small, right? And that's really all it is. It's like we have limitless potential. We are infinite in our being, and we have access to infinite potential in every given moment. And when we begin to remind ourselves of that, it helps to move the anti-intentions out of the way. And the anti-intentions are going to be like those doubts and fears and just, you know, trying to figure out the how of making things happen. So they're very counterproductive, okay? So the anti-intentions may be long-held beliefs that are now being exposed to the light of your healing process. Yay for these energies coming up, right? So it's definitely a positive thing that these are coming up to your awareness, because they are coming up to be healed and cleared so that they can make way for new, more powerful and preferred thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. So this is just the beginning of this process of learning how to spontaneously let it go, right? Eventually, you'll get to a place where it's like those, you know, there may be a little negative thought or feeling that comes up, and in the moment, you'll recognize it for what it is and go, oh yeah, I don't believe that, or that's not true for me. And it just will go away. You'll acknowledge it, and it goes away. And so we talked a little bit about that in last week's module. So we do have a tool for clearing this type of resistance. And again, using the emotion code can really help with that process. Okay. So I thought that I had let me go back here, because I thought that I had an example. And maybe I skipped it. No, there it is. So the example of an intention, this is mine. So my intention for healing my body is so that I have more energy and vitality, that my body be pain-free, and that I regain a healthy digestive system. So those are some deep soul-level intentions for healing my body. The why is, this is my intention because I am ready to live a vibrant lifestyle, to be a more effective healer and enjoy myself while I travel, and to be able to eat and enjoy foods without any limitations. So you can see that creating the what and the why, and being very clear on both of those. And it can be very simple, or it can be, you know, you could write 2 pages or 3 or 4, or fill up your journal, whatever, about your intention, right? So that's going to be your process. All right, so let's go back to, so inside the portal, you'll see these questions. So you can go to the portal and look at these questions. And there's going to be one for each area of what I consider to be holistic. So my intention for healing my mind, my body, my spirit, my relationships, my finances. You can write out an intention for each one of those. You can pick whatever is at the top of your list. Doesn't really matter, but just take some time to write them out and really dive into listening, and also write out the anti-intentions that come up. So you're going to write down both the intention and the anti-intention. It's really important to look at it. And, you know, I think that for a lot of us, you know, on our healing journeys, we're kind of a little bit conditioned to think that we should never be negative. You know, we should never, I'm learning how to be a more positive person. That means I cannot ever be angry, or I can never be worried, or I can never, you know, have a negative thought or a feeling. Otherwise, I'm going to like bring all this craziness to myself. And that just isn't true. It's when you don't address those negative thoughts and feelings that you begin to subconsciously have that vibration, and that can hinder where you're really wanting to go, because you're sending out the mixed signals. But when you have that thought, it's actually there for a reason. It's coming up to teach you something. It's coming up to show you something. So it is an important part of this process to write those things down too, and to look at them, and to ask yourself questions about those anti-intentions. Like, why do I feel like that's the case for me? I can't do this or I can't do that. Why am I saying that to myself? And look at it and actually maybe get some deeper information about that. Okay, so that's what the well work is for this week. Setting your intentions. If you don't have a new intention every day, that's okay. So it doesn't have to be something that you write out every single day. But if something new comes up as a result of looking at it and you go, you know what, I thought that's what I really wanted, but now that I'm really looking at it, maybe it's more of this, then you can definitely, there is an iterative process, you can definitely change it and write something else. But I want you to keep track of all of those in your journal. And then next week, we're going to take those intentions and we're going to create the affirmations that go with them. And we're going to dive a little bit more deeply into what the affirmations are, why they're so important, what that has to do with your healing process. And I'm excited for that piece because that's like a really huge piece. And then we'll be into the next 4 weeks. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop recording now.